This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Hello, this is the Horrified Podcast. That's Michael Combs.
That's Mike Martin over there.
That's Keith Clanton.
Hello, how's your mom and them? We have a very special guest on Brookway Drive today, recording with us. It's the love child of Reba McEntire and Dolly Parton. It's Ashley.
Hey, y'all.
Mamaw Rigby.
Mamaw Rigby.
Hey, y'all. Mama's in the house.
Woohoo! Get out your dentures, girls.
They're already out, baby. Already out.
So, are you excited to be joining us today?
Super excited. Super excited. Mamaw doesn't understand technology, so this is her first podcast. Mm-hmm. So this is exciting.
We're popping Mamaw's cherry.
We're popping Mamaw's cherry.
She doesn't have very many left, so.
I don't. I do have them tattooed on my hip, however, so I always have my cherries.
They're always handy.
They're always right there, pumpkin.
So what have you guys been up to? I love this part of the podcast because Michael always goes, nothing. And I'll be like, we literally just went on a vacation.
Well, we did all of us actually went to the Full Moon
We did.
Tattoo Horror Festival.
We supported our local horror festival. What did you guys think this year? I mean, we went on Friday, so it was kind of slow.
It was slow, but it was still busy.
It was? Yeah, there was a lot of people there. I almost think, and this is like no shade, because obviously I love it, because it's the only horror,
That we have
convention
here.
that we get. And this year they had a really good lineup, but I almost feel like they need to find a new venue for next year.
I think it's getting too big.
Yeah, it's getting too big.
Yeah.
I think a lot more people are traveling to come to it because it is a 3-day event and it's a tattoo festival. And I think their tattoo room's perfect. Even though it gets a little congested, in the middle of it, I still feel like there's plenty of room to walk around. But man, the vendor rooms are just so packed. And then you have the celebrities in there too. So I almost feel like they're going to need to.
Well, and if they're going to keep bringing in, because this lineup this year was really good.
Yeah, it was
So
really
if you're going to be
good.
bringing in, the big names, you should probably be ready for...
Yeah. Well, it just sucks because if somebody's busy, their line, it kind of flows into the vendor area and it creates a lot of congestion. So I can imagine what it was like on Saturday. But yeah, I had a really good time.
It was fun. That's all I have to add.
Michael, what did you do? What was your favorite part of the day?
D.
All I did was meet Dee Wallace again.
You did.
So
You did meet Dee Wallace.
I got a hug.
I gave her a hug as well.
I love a Dee Wallace hug.
I'm going to the prom with Tommy Ross this year. I liked his poem.
Well, hopefully it turns out better than the first.
Yeah.
No, I'll probably kill everybody. It's fun. But we had some friends visiting as well, so we took them to get some hot chicken. Party foul, holla. Don't listen to what you say. Wait, what? Don't listen. Strike it, reverse it. Don't listen to what people say about chicken and hot Nash. Okay.
We are in hot Nashville. It's fine.
We're in hot Nashville. Anyways, what I was going to say was that people think Hattie B's is the best hot chicken in Nashville.
It's a lie.
And I don't agree.
It's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie.
I think the best thing there is I think it's a pineapple beer.
Mac and cheese.
And the pimento mac and cheese.
See, I don't like the pimento mac and cheese.
Oh, I love it.
I do love
I could
it.
bathe in it.
And I think their chicken's fine. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not anything special. And I just think the chicken at Party Foul is better.
Party Foul, would you like to sponsor this podcast?
Yeah. Yeah. Damn, where's my rubber ducky that I got from Party Foul?
I don't know. Did you leave it?
No. Did I?
I hope not.
No. I took it. I know I did. You know what? I think I threw it I think it's upstairs in my bag.
Oh.
You know what? I should bring that to sit in front of us every time we record. What did we name him? Hubert?
Hubert, for sure.
Hubert, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little machine at Party Foul, if you're not familiar, and they have a bunch of rubber duckies. And they're all kinds of different colors and, I don't know, characters. I think mine was a little army man or something. You won one, though, didn't you?
Not this time. I didn't play this time. But
No, but
last
before you
time,
did, right?
Yes, I won the sparkly red one.
Oh, yeah, I was so jealous.
It's on my desk at work.
So jealous. Well, maybe one day. I wish you guys could see Buddy right now. He's laying in Mike's lap and Mike's caressing him. It's very cute.
It's what I like to call a lap of luxury.
A lap of luxury. And this is really exciting because where are we going in a couple days, y'all?
We are all going to California.
This is L.A.
California girls.
Okay, Michael has nothing to add. Cool. I feel like maybe you need to chug that drink.
I talked enough last episode.
Yeah, you did talk a lot, but it was nice.
Hey, Michael, guess what today is?
What?
The
Tuesday.
25th anniversary of Return to Saturn.
Oh,
Did you see my post?
I did see you post about that. I do love that record.
We were just talking
No
about it.
Doubt and Gwen
Yeah,
Stefani.
If y'all don't know, well, I'm sure you do, but Michael's Instagram handle is Gwen Guy.
It is for Gwen Stefani.
Yeah, he's dedicated.
But if you know what? I'm going to give you the ultimate,
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
Oh, me too.
if you had to choose, if it was Kylie or Gwen,
If you had to save one of them.
where are you running?
Wait, you ever seen The Good Son?
A long time
Okay,
ago.
well, you're the mom, and you've got Macaulay Culkin in one hand,
Or Elijah
Wood in the other, but it's Gwen and Kylie. Which one you dropping?
Honestly, it would be Gwen.
R.I.P. Gwen.
She's porcelain. She would literally just shatter.
I
Shatter.
don't know. Kylie surpassed Gwen in the last few years for me. I will always love Gwen, but
Well, then you need to
Kylie's-
change your screen name to Kylie Guy.
I'm going to have to.
That's a good point. I expected him to say Kylie, but now that you mentioned that, I'm like, yeah, then why is Gwen Guy?
Because Gwen was always my number one, but Kylie has passed.
I mean, and that's fair if you really think about it. You have pretty much stand everything that Kylie has done. Whereas with Gwen, the last few years have been kind of
She hasn't really done much since 2016 anyway, so.
She married Blake.
Yeah.
Which is real weird.
Really
I mean,
weird.
Well,
whatever.
that dropped her immediately below Kylie.
Her credibility.
Yeah.
but she's still beautiful and will always stand.
She is. I love Gwen. I will always
Yes.
love
She is
Gwen.
beautiful. Mike, let me ask you a question.
Oh, God. This was not supposed to turn to
Yeah.
me.
I love
Let's
this.
do it. Bon Jovi
Okay.
or Dolly Parton?
Oh, my. Don't you kill our queen.
I know.
Don't you do it.
I mean, are we talking Bon Jovi, the band?
No, John Bon Jovi, the man behind the band.
Mr. Bon Jovi.
I mean, that's hard.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, well, you have to pick because we don't leave questions unanswered on the show.
I'm so sorry, Tennessee, but John Bon Jovi is going to get it for me.
I mean, to be fair, Dolly's going to bounce right back up off that cliff and those big old boobies.
She's immortal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
She'll be
Her and
fine.
Cher and the cockroaches.
Yeah, they'll be
Forever.
fine. They'll be fine.
JBJ's been there for me since I was 5. I can't. That love is just.
Well, let's do one for Ashley. I mean, you probably know her better than we do, so pick one for her. This is fun. We should do this every episode.
Well, obviously. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Butch Walker
Oh, my.
or
JTT. No, I don't know.
Dare.
No.
Dare you make
I was
me choose
I
that?
was gonna try to keep in the same vein. So Butch Walker or Fall Out Boy.
Oh, my God. I don't know how to even sort that out in my brain. Brawley B-dubs. I got to keep him. I mean,
You keep
Pete,
Butch
I love
Walker?
you. Yeah. Pete, I love you. I would love to marry you someday. If you're listening, Pete Wentz, will you marry me? But
He just called. He said yes.
oh, perfect, great.
Okay, well in that case, Fall Out Boy.
In that case, Fall Out Boy. No, Butch is just 25 years, man. B-dub,
See,
yeah.
B-Dub.
He's been
When
there
you say
for me.
B-Dub, I think of Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh God, that's the worst place on this planet.
It really is. It's disgusting.
It holds some drama for me.
Well, when I worked at the distribution center, they would go sometimes after work because, they're open late. And they'd be like, hey, Keith, come to B-Dubs. And I'd be like, I would literally rather eat my toenails.
Same.
I'm good.
I don't love it there.
It's not good.
And when Waffle House is a choice, why would you ever?
Yeah, why would you pick
Why?
Buffalo Wild Wings over a chocolate chip waffle?
Never. I would
And
never.
Hash browns covered, smothered, laid to the side, whatever.
Smacked it up, flipped it, and reversed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I'd never choose Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
Well, what would Keith be?
I
Kelly
know.
Clarkson.
It'd be Kelly Clarkson and somebody, but
Mickey
I don't feel
Guyton?
I can't think of anybody that he would choose over Kelly Clarkson.
It'd always be Kelly.
It's always going to be Kelly. Always.
Her new stuff sounds.
I can't fucking wait.
It sounds so good.
And you know what? I thought I was thinking about this because we're going to be on a plane on Friday. And I thought...
Well, it comes out at 11 o'clock the night before.
Girl, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm already going to have listened to it by then. But I'm just thinking, plane ride, reading a book, that song's going to be on repeat the whole
4 hours.
probably. Yeah, literally. So, yeah, that's true. There's not really anybody I'd
I mean,
pick.
I really was sitting here trying to think because I was like, Cam, Sarah Bareilles.
And I do
Well,
love all
Sarah.
those people, but...
Keith likes Kelly Clarkson and Hungry Eyes.
Yes!
What about
That's
Carrie
it.
Underwood?
Fuck, she could... Hell.
Me and Keith.
Well,
are
if
gonna-
she fell, nobody would know because, her face would stay the same.
Yeah, she would. She'd have to have major reconstructive surgery that she's already had.
twice.
Yeah, so she'll come back looking like Carrie Underwood. Like, it's just weird. I don't know.
Like a fembot.
Anyways, as Molly Shannon would say, don't get me started. Don't even get me started. Wow. Well, I think we rambled on long enough, y'all. We are back today with episode 9 of our queer horror series. We'd love for y'all to follow along with us if you aren't already. So please be sure to give this season's movie listing a peep over at the Horrified Podcast on Instagram. Now, come sit a spell. Let's chat about Bound.
If their plan succeeds, if they survive,
Sweet Jesus.
if they can trust each other,
I guess it was a job. Maybe the Carpellas. All part of the business.
they are bound
I think I'm a dead man. I'm one in the back of the head.
for the pleasure
You were nothing before you met me. Violet! You were nothing. You had nothing.
for the money,
I want what's mine. I want half the money.
for each other.
What did she do to you?
Everything you could.
Bound.
Bound was released in 1996, written and directed by Lily and Lana Wachowski. It stars Jennifer Tilly, Gina Gershon, Joe Pantoliano, hopefully I'm saying that right, John P. Ryan, and the studly Christopher Maloney. Michael,
Hello.
kick us off, bitch.
So our movie opens with a person tied up in a closet who we find out is Gina Gershon's character, Corky. We then flash back to Corky a couple days before being tied up. We find out that she has been hired to work on an apartment, inside of an apartment. Well, in the elevator at the apartment complex, she encounters a couple people who end up being the neighbors, Violet and Caesar. Later that day, Violet comes over with a cup of coffee to introduce herself. The next day, Corky gets a call from the landlord, and she goes to Violet's apartment to retrieve an earring that has fallen in the kitchen drain. They end up flirting and doing a little finger banging before Caesar interrupts. Violet tells Corky Caesar is a money launderer for the mafia and that they've been together 5 years after meeting in the restaurant that Violet worked at.
Sounds pretty lesbian to me.
It sounds pretty gay. I'm not watching it. What do we... So, I just thought my first note was, wow, Gina Gershon is quite literally bound in that closet. But
Yeah.
it's such a quick... Like, I couldn't tell for a minute. Like, is that a closet? Like, I guess I didn't really tell until it got closer that it was an actual closet. I didn't know what I was looking at.
Yeah.
But that's really quick, and then we go into the elevator. So what do we think about our characters? First impressions.
Corky's butch.
Very.
Very butch.
I gotta say, though, I love that name, Corky. And I like it so much because in the Fear Street world, because y'all know I'm a big Fear Street fan, in the Cheerleader series, which is a very popular series in the books, I think there's 4 or 5 of them. But in the first, it's about 2 sisters, Bobby and Corky Corcoran, that moved to Shadyside to join the cheerleading squad. And Corky is one of the first ones to become possessed. And so I always remember that name because it's the only time I've ever heard it. So when I heard her name was Corky, I automatically liked her.
Well,
I just think of the restaurant.
I was say I think of barbecue.
I mean, yeah, Corky is, they really played up. They were like, we want you to know for a fact that she's the butch one.
100%.
Which is funny because, Gina Gershon is beautiful.
Butch.
I'll go ahead and say it. I thought she was super sexy in this movie. Even in a, pair of old Lee Dungaroos or whatever, Lee Dungarees, and her wife beater that she wears, she looked really good in this movie.
Her mouth. I just stared at her mouth. It was like Gary Busey, and I couldn't get past it. And she's so pretty.
She is pretty. She does do some weird stuff with her mouth.
I've never seen her mouth look so strange.
And I can only assume that they accent her mouth because,
the whole sexy.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure Jennifer Tilly's probably looking at her mouth as well and being like, because she's always putting her fingers on it or licking her lips or whatever.
They were so glossy. That's all I could think about.
For Gina?
Yes.
I don't remember her lips being glossy.
They were always shiny.
Huh. Okay.
And her teeth were always out.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of. And Jennifer Tilly's eyebrows. I couldn't get past those either.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't love her hair in this movie.
I didn't love it either. And I love Jennifer Tilly.
Well, yeah.
I'm obsessed with her. I'm probably the love child of her, Dolly Parton,
And Elvira.
Reba.
and Reba.
I was going to say, don't forget
Because I'm
Reba.
still a survivor, honey. I love all my children. But it was...
She works 2 jobs and never stops.
Never stops, honey. Never stops. But it was so 96, I guess.
It was.
It was so 96.
Yeah, the makeup was definitely 96.
But Jennifer Tilly's dark lipstick and her bright red lipstick come through, honey.
Yeah.
She looked great. Her lipstick was great. Her eyebrows were not.
As soon as you see them before I get onto that, what do you think of Caesar?
Skis ball.
Ratchet.
Right from the start.
Yeah,
I've also never, because Joe Pantoliano is he's pretty famous. He's been in stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything with this much hair.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
'Cause,
hair.
Honestly, I don't recognize him from anything.
Me either.
Oh, well, he's in La Bamba. He's Richie Valens' manager.
La Bamba.
Yes.
The blockbuster movie of... yeah.
With Lou Diamond Phillips.
I mean,
Yes,
obviously
Lou
I've seen
Diamond
that, but I
Phillips.
don't remember him in it.
Yeah, he's his manager in that. But he's been in other stuff.
Yeah.
He's recognizable to me, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's usually bald. He's usually some
Yeah.
white man that's
Well,
just
he-
got big old bald spot.
He had a lot of hair in this movie.
Yes, and it was gross.
And unsettling.
You thought his hairy chest was gross? I mean, he's got hair everywhere.
Oh, I thought you meant his
I
hair.
thought you meant his hair.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had bad hair, too, but...
I mean,
Whatever.
I definitely didn't see him. Well, because you see him quite a bit,
Yeah, you do.
and I didn't really see any scene with him and be like, oh.
No, well, no, neither did I.
No.
I don't ever think he's, oozing sexuality. So I feel like as soon as you see them in the elevator for the first time, obviously we know where this is going. It stars Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly, clearly. But to your point, they did definitely make Gina look like a big old butch lesbian, and then you got the lipstick lesbian, Jennifer Tilly. Very stereotypical, I think, in the 90s.
Also, in what world would Jennifer Tilly ever end up with a man like that?
Agreed.
I know. Well, okay, well, maybe I can touch on that a little bit later because I do have my thoughts about it. So, what do we think of the watering hole, the lesbian bar that Corky
Sue?
goes to?
Sue, the bartender?
Yeah. Welcome home. Yeah, Sue. You know, I looked her up, and so she has since passed away. But
Okay.
I was trying to think of, because she's pretty like high up on the billing list. So I was like, what else is she in? And the only thing I remembered her from is the I think it was the Prom Night remake with Brittany Snow.
Oh.
She
What?
plays the teacher. So when they're all like, she's trying to get the prom king and queen candidates up to the Mrs. Waters, I think was her name, but that was her.
Welcome home, Sue.
The one thing that I took from the watering hole was I thought it was hysterical that they were playing Aretha Franklin's I Ain't Never Loved a Man, which I thought was so funny. I was like, well, I mean, well
Perfect
played.
song choice.
That's
Yeah. Well, you know, at first I just thought maybe it was a regular bar because the lesbians looked like men. Like I thought a few of them were men, and then I was like, oh no, these are all just like really masculine lesbians. Again, I feel like that's just super stereotypical of what people thought a lesbian looked like in 1996.
Well, and
Right.
that's where we first learned that our girl's a criminal
Yes.
because the cop flashes that badge when
Oh,
she tries
yeah.
to pick up her girlfriend.
what. And she says something like, because when she walks off, doesn't Corky say something about like,
Just here to get laid.
well, and she says like, whenever you're done with Cagney and Lacey,
Oh, that's
or
right.
whatever.
Give me a call.
Yeah, give me a call.
Yeah. So, one thing that I definitely wanted to point out before we move on to the plumbing job in Violet's apartment, Jennifer Gershon, Gina, sorry.
I'm having flashbacks to that episode where I kept calling Deborah Foreman.
Deborah Goodrich.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, Gina Gershon, Corky, looks really great in a pair of men's briefs. Because
Oh.
she's laying on her
Yes.
bed there and she's just got her briefs on.
Okay, so let's just settle this.
Okay.
What the hell was making that noise?
What noise?
It
That
was
little-
her tools.
Like that little boing.
It was
Oh,
her
that was
tools,
little.
wasn't it?
I thought that was a little mouth harmonica.
Oh,
or
I thought
mouth
it was
banjo.
a tool.
I don't know.
I almost felt it like it was maybe a guitar string or something that she had.
Oh, see, I thought it was a mouth banjo.
'Cause, like,
Maybe it was dental floss.
I mean, I thought it was some kind of like an instrument at first, but then later we see that she puts those little, the tools in her ear or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it was like something that she like concocted.
I thought it was her doing that with her teeth, like with
Yeah.
a tool.
Well, her teeth were very out, so that's
I mean,
possible.
they were in the open.
I don't know. Because you can't really see, so I just assume it was like a string of some sort. that
Yeah.
She was like flicking. She was flicking the bean.
She just does it a couple of times, and I was like, what is that?
Yeah, because you can't really see it.
But she does look good laying there in that bed.
She does
She
in the
does.
briefs, I thought.
She
Okay,
does.
girl. Okay, so now we've got this catastrophe going on over at Violet's house.
Poor Violet.
She's lost her earring. I just, whenever she was telling her what happened, I was like, okay, sure, Jan. Like, sure, you dropped it. And you did that on purpose. We all knew you did. Obviously, she admits to it later that she did do it on purpose, right? To get her over there. But I like that whole scene.
I had to laugh because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, the writers couldn't have come up with like a different landlord name. We had to have Mr. B and Keeney.
I mean, what even was
Like,
that?
what kind of a name
His
is
name
that?
was what?
It was like B and Keeney.
Yeah, Mr. B.
Really?
Yeah, it was something real obscure, and I was like, this couldn't have just been like,
They're
sure, Mr. Smith. Like,
right, right.
Okay.
Well, maybe it just goes with the whole Italian mob theme.
I mean, maybe.
Oh, see, I
Maybe
thought it
they-
sounded more Indian, but
Well, the other guy had
Rajiv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was, I think, the guy that lived there, maybe.
Yeah.
He wasn't the landlord, but he went back to India.
Yeah.
So she was
Yes.
there fixing up the apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that the earring thing was a little ridiculous. Honestly, the entire the whole scene from the minute she goes over to the apartment, knocks on the door, and Jennifer answers it, I was like, this literally feels like a lesbian porn.
Mm-hmm. What do you got there, Michael?
She was playing a mouth harp.
A mouth harp?
Oh, a mouth
I
harp.
could tell it was an instrument, but I thought it was called a mouth banjo. It's called a mouth harp.
See, the whole mouth thing again.
Mm-hmm.
The mouth thing. And on the subject of the earring, that was some costume-ass jewelry from Big Lots. Why was she even worried? It was not a diamond. Y'all saw that, right?
Yeah,
Y'all
it wasn't
saw
pretty.
it was some costume ass, turn your ear green ass, $5 ass, Big Lots jewelry.
Dangle. It was a
She was
jangle.
going to throw
Jangle.
diamonds down that drain to get Corky over there.
That
That's
Jennifer
true.
Tilly would never wear.
Right.
No.
And did
No.
you look? I was looking in her other ear. There wasn't.
No,
she wasn't wearing it.
She definitely was not wearing it.
Uh-uh.
So, yeah, she threw that thing in there like you would throw a dead fish in the toilet bowl. Like she was just like,
100%.
"Oh, I got to
Plop.
get that lesbo over here. I mean, we knew, like, yeah. I just like it when she says, she asks if she wants a drink. Mm-hmm. And she says beer. And she says beer.
Of course.
But she does that a few times because I don't
truck.
know. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't
Of
know when it
course.
happens, but she asks what she drives and she says a truck. And she says a truck, of course. Like she just knows this big butch woman.
Well,
Drive
this
the
movie
truck.
They talk
definitely...
about her fixing things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what she says.
Yeah.
About driving a truck, an old one. She says she drives a 63
Yeah.
Chevy.
Yes.
I knew it. That's what she says. I knew it.
I mean, this movie definitely caters to the stereotypes of the time, for sure.
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, it just does.
Well, but you know, our girl Celine had that haircut in '96 as well.
She did.
Because You Love Me. Y'all all know that.
Wait, which haircut?
Gina's.
Yeah, but that was like that was a cut.
That
Like,
was the
a
cut.
popular
That was the
cut.
'96 cut.
Yeah.
That's not what made her tough. I think the wife beaters made her tough.
Yes.
And the briefs.
And the
briefs.
tattoos.
And the tattoos.
What was okay? When did Showgirls come out? Was that after this?
I think so. That would have
I think it
been
was
like...
97?
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say a year or two
Next
later.
year.
Well, I just thought. I mean, Gina Gershon like really has no problem showing
Absolutely not.
whatever she wants. I mean, she looks great. Let's be real. Like I would probably not care either, but like has no shame. Like she's literally open to do whatever,
Oh yeah.
which I kind of like.
Yeah, I mean,
too.
and this is not the only movie that she does that. I mean, obviously
No.
Showgirls, but then like Pray for Rock and Roll is like a fantastic movie with her, and she's very provocative in that as well.
Yeah, I like it.
But I just like her. I like both of them. That's why this movie's hot to me.
Yeah.
Well, I like that Gina Gershon is like not afraid to go there, you know, and like Jennifer Tilly does too. But I also think Jennifer Tilly's had a lot more, I would say, critical success than Gina Gershon. Like Jennifer Tilly's been nominated for an Oscar. You know what I mean? Like she's, I don't know. I guess her, what's the word I'm looking for? Her resume is a little bit more impressive than Gina Gershon, but Jennifer's not afraid to do stupid stuff either. I mean, hello, See to Chucky. That's coming up later this season, but.
Oh yes.
Well, I mean, so do we just go right into their little moment? Because you just
yeah, we can
okay.
talk about the finger blasting.
well, you brought up
Blasting.
Chucky, and I kind of laughed because when I was watching it, I sat there and I wrote in my notes because like when she goes, she's talking about her tattoo on her
Yes.
chest.
Yes.
And she's like cradling her boob or whatever. And she's like, I got a tattoo. I want to see it. And Gina's like, sure. And when she went to show her, I was like, it says Tiffany. That's literally all I was waiting for. I was like, it's going to be a little heart. It says Tiffany.
Well, I guess when you got good boobs like Jennifer Tilly, they're gonna put tattoos on your boobs in your movies.
Oh, for sure.
You know.
Well, at first I was like, what the fuck is it? She
Yeah.
keeps talking about what this tattoo is. And I was like, I can't even see it.
No, because you're just like rubbing your nipples, girl. Like, let's be real. Let's call it what it is. You're trying to like make Corky's mouth water over there.
And that's a lot of mouth.
I
as
did-
we know.
I did love it though when they're like, you know, having their little fun, and then Caesar comes home, and you know they introduce Corky to Caesar and all that stuff, and he's mad at first, but then realizes it's a woman, so he's fine because Jennifer Tilly's character would never be a lesbian. But what I really liked about it was when he says, "You must be really good with your hands." And I just thought that's funny because she was just fingering Violet. And then she shakes his hand.
With that hand. Yes.
I thought that was pretty amazing.
Here, have your girlfriend's juices. There you go.
Yeah, literally. I liked that part. Now, I will say this. So, obviously, they meet up later in her truck, I guess, and then they go to bed. I did not like their kissing. I thought it was very awkward and messy.
Wait, in the
truck?
car or in the truck or in the bed?
Well, kind of both, because I feel like they kiss more in the truck than they do in the bedroom, right? Like, you see more sexy stuff in the bedroom. But when she plants that first kiss on Corky, it's almost like, I mean, I could do it, but, like, nobody's going to be able to see because it's a podcast. But, like, her tongue is a little too much. Like, it's like right off the bat. And I'm like, that was weird.
Oh, well, she's probably afraid she's going to get lost in that mouth.
She's trying to get a rope.
Cut her tongue.
Because poor little Jennifer Tilly's got a normal-looking mouth.
She does.
But, I mean, I don't know. Some of that stuff just felt so... And, I mean, I know we're watching a movie about lesbians, but... just the dialogue and stuff in it just made me laugh when she's sitting there and she's like, it's because, what does she say? Something about, like, it's not about what I did, it's about what I didn't do.
It's about what I didn't do.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they go up to the bedroom, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have a bed somewhere? No,
No,
she doesn't.
I sleep on the floor. I sleep on the floor.
On the paint buckets.
So after that, I guess pretty much sums up what you were just talking about earlier, Michael. They have a talk about Caesar's business, right?
Yep.
And so what does Caesar do?
He launders money for the mafia. But the mafia came in and took over. It was a club. I said restaurant. Took over the club where Violet works at. And that's how they met 5 years earlier.
Yeah, it was a club.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I missed all of that during. Well, and again, I'll get to that in a little bit. But so, and I took it that Corky is like a modern day Robin Hood, essentially.
Yeah, because
Yes.
she says she redistributes
Wealth, yeah.
wealth. Yeah, that's
So,
what she said.
It's like, because when we were sitting here watching it, I'm like, okay, so what is she saying exactly? And Michael said, well, it sounds like she's stealing stuff, but she's giving it to people that need it or whatever. And I said, so she's like Robin Hood, essentially. All right, well, I guess that takes us on to the second half of the movie. So, Michael, what's going on now?
Let's find out. Corky,
Yes, let's.
Corky sees four men forcing a man out of a car into Caesar's apartment. While in the apartment next door,
Cokie.
Cokehead Corky.
Corky can hear them torturing the man. Having heard enough, Corky is about to leave when she finds Violet in the apartment. Violet confides in Corky that she wants to start a new life and convinces Corky to help her steal over $2 million from Caesar and the mob. Violet explains that Johnny, the son of the head mafia honcho, hates Caesar and vice versa. With this information, the two hatch a plan to steal the money, including dropping a bottle of scotch as a distraction to get Violet out of the apartment and Corky inside. After stealing the money, Corky makes her way back to the other apartment, and Violet returns home to continue the plan, which includes making Caesar think Johnny came to the apartment and stole the money. After the mob boss, security guard, and Johnny show up in the apartment, Caesar kills them all, thinking he is being double-crossed. He forces Violet to go to Johnny's to find the money, and after not being able to locate it, calls Mickey that Gino and Johnny have not shown up yet.
Okay, so before we talk about like the poor guy that they're fucking with, his name is Shelley. So he shows up to Violet's apartment and knocks on the door and comes in.
Yes.
What did you guys take that as?
I thought they were.
Well, I thought they were fucking.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
So okay. So
I mean, because Corky's listening to it, right?
yeah, she can.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thought, okay. So was Violet an escort?
So when she's talking to Corky and Corky asks her about it and she says, "Oh, that's nothing, that's work."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It made me think that. I was like, okay, so are you, but I guess she's not doing it from Money?
Maybe she's doing it to...
Information?
Yes, maybe.
Well, because remember, when that whole thing goes down, she tells Corky that Shelley told her about his plan when he came over there that day. Mm-hmm. That was the reason why he was coming over there, to try to get her to run away with him.
Right, and see, I think that Shelley was one of the only one, because like it even comes up later when Caesar's talking to her, when she's overhearing everything that they're doing to Shelley, and Caesar's like, is it because you know him? So like I feel like she had kind of created some sort of a relationship with Shelley, and maybe there was a little bit more connection to him than some of the others.
Yeah.
Well, let's be real. All these men in this movie are pussy whipped by Violet. They all love her.
Well, I mean, look at them and look at her.
Well, I mean, how could you not be? You
Right,
know, like
right.
even me as a gay man, I might be like, I mean, if you want to go to the bedroom, I mean,
I'll go.
it's Jennifer
I'll
Tilly.
motorboat those babies.
But, so yeah, I actually, it took me a minute to realize that the guy that they had in the bathroom was Shelley. Because you only get that like super brief glimpse of him, and it's not like a close up or anything. So it took me a minute, and I thought, wait, is that Shelley? Okay, yeah, it's definitely Shelley. Like it did take me a minute to get that. What do we think of Johnny?
Well, you know, I love me some Christopher Maloney.
Yeah,
So-
he is such a douche in this movie.
He is.
All I could think of is I would probably date him.
Those blue eyes
Gets me
gets
every
you
time.
Does he remind you of one of those wrestlers?
Well, maybe.
All of those wrestlers?
Every single one of them. Or
Yeah.
actually every guy I've ever dated, except for like one. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Christopher Maloney?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's a douche.
He is a douche. in
And
this
he's
movie.
arrogant.
Very.
And he's narcissistic.
Which Christopher Maloney is super handsome, but I will say, watching the movie, I was like, ugh, he's so gross. Like his attitude
he's supposed
makes
to
him
be.
so ugly, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to
Well,
be.
and this would have been like pre-Oz, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Or was Oz like...
Oz was around this time.
That's kind of what I thought, because it
I
was like
thinking it
mid to late
97,
90s, right?
98.
This would be
maybe.
pre-SVU.
For sure pre-SVU.
Pre-True Blood.
Yeah.
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 Y'all, that's where I know him from. True Blood. Yeah, he was on one of the final seasons of True Blood. Anyway, I felt kind of bad for Shelley. Like,
Oh, I did too.
Oh, I
When
did
they got
too.
those
I did
prune shoes
too.
out.
I kind of felt bad for him. And then we're also introduced to Mickey, who's an older gentleman. I guess I'll be completely honest. After watching the movie, I still don't fully understand all the relationships. Like, I get that Johnny was Gino's son, right?
Right.
But then at one point, I almost thought, okay, well, maybe Mickey is like kind of a big wig too, because
That's-
it almost.
he's
I
right
think
below
he's
Gina.
like second in command.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, because it was kind of hard to decide, like who's really in charge here, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It probably would have been Johnny, but his dad knows
Knew
that he's a
he-
dumbass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
didn't
he knew he
trust
was a
him,
dumbass
maybe.
for sure.
I really like Mickey.
I do too.
I think he's so sweet.
He's my favorite.
He's very sensitive to Violet.
Yes.
And then I put in my notes, I'm like, wait, does this man actually call the shots? Is this the one calling the shots? But now that we've kind of just hashed that out, it makes a little more sense.
But is he really sensitive to her, or is he just kind of into her like everybody else is into her?
I don't know. I felt like he was really genuine.
I think so too.
When he
Even-
tells her to leave,
Yeah.
Even later,
like, go take a walk, you don't need to
Yeah.
see all this.
Even later on at the end of the movie, like, I just feel like there's something. No, don't get me wrong. I think he definitely wants to fuck her, but I think he's just sensitive to her
Yeah.
because maybe
Yeah.
he knows like this is not the predicament she wanted to be in, but she's with Caesar, and he's kind of put her in that predicament, and maybe he feels sorry for her.
That's what I
Well,
think.
and I guess, I mean, this is getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I mean, you know, maybe that's why she makes that call she does towards the end,
It is because she knows that he'll listen to her.
and he'll believe her.
Because, you know, like in every mob movie that you see, the guys who are on top are always sensitive to women and children.
Yeah, that's true.
And he feels like, I
Family.
think, right. He feels like that Violet, because she worked at the club that they took over, that she was forced into this lifestyle. Because I think he feels like she had no choice other than to be with Caesar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and he's really sensitive to her feelings and her being a woman and the whole thing.
Well, and you can tell too, like when they're all there, like she's pretty much doing whatever Caesar asks her to do.
Right.
Like if he wants a drink, she's getting him a drink.
Yes.
I mean, whatever it is, she's doing.
Well,
So-
she wants to leave, and Caesar doesn't want her to.
Well, yeah.
And it's not till...
Do we think Caesar actually like really loves her?
No.
I don't.
I think he's
You don't?
incapable of love.
Oh, see, I think he does.
I think he's
I
infatuated.
think she's a tool for him.
I think he's infatuated.
And I think he's also a pussy because, like, that whole scene where Mickey is trying to tell her to leave or whatever. And, like, I mean, as soon as Mickey says something to Caesar about, like, no, I've got this, you need to go. Like, didn't I tell you to go get me something? And he's just like, yeah, you did. And he just leaves. So he's like big wig until somebody bigger than him
Shows up.
shows up and puts him in his place.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's just, he's such a pansy. And no, I do not think that his feelings for her are like.
See, I feel like so you feel like he does. I feel like I could go either way. Like there's some parts where I'm like, okay, maybe he does really care for her, but then I'm like, I mean, he'll kill her if he needs to. You know, I mean,
Well,
we'll
and
get
that's
there later.
I
but-
guess that's why I just can't get on board with it being like real for him, because he just some of the stuff that he says to her and just the way that I think she's like very self-aware of what their relationship is, which is why she can get away with what she gets away with.
I think so too.
But
I don't think of it in that terms. It's the mafia. They'd kill their own fucking mother if they had to, so...
Yeah, I just think in this one, the reason why I'm a little iffy is because it's very clear that Caesar only cares about Caesar, and like you find out more and more as the movie goes on.
I just think he's scared.
I think he's scared.
I think he's in over his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Maybe it's almost like he's trying to prove something too, like later on.
And because he's so narcissistic, I think he views Violet as property. Because, like, later on when she's packing her shit, trying to get out of there, he, like, makes it very clear to her, you are going nowhere. You can't leave. Who the fuck you think you're talking to? Because I'm going to walk the fuck up out of here.
I'm Jennifer Tilly.
I'm Jennifer Tilly. I'm gonna go get with Gina, and I'm gonna live my life in this pickup truck, and I'm gonna be done with you. That's what I know.
So, what do we think? Okay, so I mean, this part's not really important, but they're at a bar, and Shelley, stole the money, is in love with Violet, and she's telling all this to Corky. I don't think that's necessarily important, but she needs help, right? And I think we can, like, that's pretty much the whole point of this. She needs help, and she's going to ask Corky for some help. So when he comes in there with that $2 million covered in blood, I thought did you really need to wash it?
And
Dry
iron
it?
it?
He's a
Iron it.
real money launderer.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Laundered the money.
Get the fuck out of here. I just thought, I don't know. Like, do you need to do all that? Like, at the end of the day, they just want their money. You know?
Well,
Like, did he need to make it pretty? Especially if he was planning on keeping it later. I mean, does it matter?
If you're gonna pass it through another business, you probably don't want to hand
Bloody money.
bloody money.
blood-soaked $100 bills.
I don't know, though, because it's like, you know what I had to do to get this money back for you? Here it is.
It's covered in blood.
Yeah, it's covered in blood. Okay, so this part got a little confusing for me because we have Corky walking through this plan, right? Corky and Violet walking through this plan. And while they're talking about it, it's playing out on screen. So for a few minutes, I thought, okay, wait, are we actually watching this happen? Or is this just like for us to see as they're explaining it? But then it turns out, oh no, they actually did it, So I kind of, towards the end of it, I was like, I'm not mad about how that whole thing was shot. Like, they just explain it to you while you're watching it.
well, because most of the time it's like they'll explain it in a movie and then they'll show it again. It's like, okay, we got the point.
Yeah,
Right.
or it'll pan out, and then you're like, wait, what's happening? And then they explain it later, like go back. So I kind of liked that, and I thought that Violet looked really hot in that red dress.
Yes,
Right?
that was the lipstick change.
She looked so good in that red dress. So, I mean, where do we really go from here? Because I feel like a lot happens once the plan
Gina looked
starts.
real good in that green tank top.
Who?
Oh yeah,
Gina?
She changed from a white one to like a green one.
she did.
And she put 37 earrings in her ear.
I loved that. I have
All
to
those
say,
tools?
yes, I love that she kept her tools in her because it's slick and feminine, but still tough because she's using it to break into shit.
Yeah.
I was behind that. I was
Yeah.
like, that's cool.
I mean, she's a badass for
She is.
sure.
I just feel like, damn, girl, that must be some good pussy for you to know her for like 2 days and you're willing to
Fuck over the
lose your
mafia.
life for some money.
but think about what money does to people.
Oh,
though.
no, absolutely.
You know, like,
and
think
that's a lot of
about-
money, too.
Oh, what did he say? 2.174.
176.
176. What that
Yeah.
total up to? 2.176.
Yeah, it wasn't just like $50. It was,
Yeah.
it was a significant amount of money. I mean, anybody would die to have that kind of money. Okay, so obviously this is when the girls hash out their plan, and I feel like there's a lot of intricacies here, and I don't necessarily want to talk about every single one of them because it's a lot. However, I will say, Corky goes in and steals that money. And my first thought was, why don't you just take the whole goddamn suitcase? Like, why? Just take the suitcase, right?
Well, but I mean, I'm sure that. Well, no, because if she took the whole suitcase, then they wouldn't have even been able to fake something being in the suitcase.
Yeah, I mean,
My thought was when she sat down and she was going through, going to put the paper into the suitcase. Where'd you put that money?
Same.
Like, we didn't see her come in there with anything.
well, she had those like trash bags, right? So maybe she had them in her pockets or something.
Well, we see it like later
In a
in the
duffel
apartment.
bag.
It's in like some kind of a duffel bag.
yeah,
But I was like, I mean, because that's a lot of money.
she put it in her cargo pants.
All those pockets. That's what they're for.
She had plenty of pockets.
Oh man, I thought they were for snacks.
Jinkos.
Yes, they were for $100 bills from the mob.
Yeah, she just shoved them in her pants. So obviously that happens, and whatever. We know Gino is supposed to be on his way, right, with Johnny and
His bodyguard.
yeah, some other old man that doesn't matter. And they're gonna pass the money off to him. So I started to think, okay, this plan's actually working, right? And maybe Caesar's gonna run and all this is gonna go away. But then I thought, we still got like 30 minutes left in this movie. It's not gonna go quite that easy. And Caesar decides not to run. And then I feel like, well, maybe he's not as dumb and cowardly as I originally thought. Because I do think he's scared. But then I think, I mean, that's pretty ballsy. Because if he was scared, he would have just ran. And that's what they thought he would do, right?
I think he still acted like a coward though, because I think he was like, I'm just gonna kill everybody and take over. I don't think it was necessarily like a boss move. I think it was fear.
That was like little man syndrome.
Exactly. Napoleon complex.
Okay.
See, and I kind of like a little bit on the same train as Keith, where I'm not so sure that like he wasn't thinking, well, they're gonna kill me regardless, so I'm not gonna run, because he knew that he didn't actually do anything.
Right.
Like,
Right.
So I think that was probably what kind of drove him to keep. He's like, I know I didn't do shit wrong, and he really didn't.
Yeah.
But like, so he's like, I'm not gonna run, because if I run, they really are gonna kill me.
Yeah. Well, and I think Johnny, too, was an easy target because they hated each other so much. So if Violet said she saw John, like, he was automatically going to go there.
Yep.
Just because of the issues they had earlier on in the movie. So I was kind of surprised when, I'll just say, Gino, Johnny, and Co. show up, because I thought, okay, shit's going to get real. Like, I was genuinely like, what's about to happen? And kind of felt bad for Violet, because she's literally stuck in the middle of it. What did we think about that whole scene?
I mean, there was a lot of Italian speaking,
What
Hey,
do we-
Bella.
What do we think of Gino?
I love Gino.
Gino's kind of like, I get it. He's the head of whatever.
But he's suave.
He's suave and he's
Suave as hell.
Again, he's really sweet to Violet.
Yeah.
He is. And can we always point out that the mob boss has a fedora? Always has a fedora. So you knew when he was coming down the hallway when they shot above, you're like, fedora.
That's him.
Gino.
And have you ever seen a mafia movie where the mob boss is not like some 6'5" big dude?
Yeah.
I've never just seen they never look like Johnny.
No.
Like they're always like
I always think of Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like a suave papaw.
Yeah. I was going to say there is always the dumb son,
Yeah.
aka
Yes.
Johnny,
Yes.
in those mob movies.
Yes.
But yeah, like he just has his shit together, you know? And I feel like,
I feel like if you're a mob boss you have to.
yeah, he's a mob boss, but like, kind of like you were saying earlier, Ashley, like he looks very much like a family man too.
He does.
And see, and once again kind of playing into like where I was talking about earlier with Caesar and Mickey, Caesar is real quick to bow down to these people.
Yes.
Like when Gino gets up in his face, and literally he is walking up to that man's gun. No fear,
None.
but like looks Caesar straight in the face. And, well, I mean, he almost gets the gun out of his hand before, obviously, that doesn't happen. But it's like you see it in Caesar's face, the power that this man has over him. So, I mean, of course, I guess it didn't really help Gino in the end.
No.
But
Did you think he was actually going to shoot him? Like, did you think the gun was actually going to go off?
I did, only because I felt like his fear brought him to the point of no return. So he was like, well, to hell with it. I'm just going to shoot everybody.
whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I honestly thought when he got shot, I was like, shoot him one time, and it wasn't even the side where his heart is, and he's going to die? That big old man.
He was old. He had pre-existing conditions.
And Caesar's little ass is going to carry him to the bathroom?
That's what I said.
Same.
I said, Caesar must be one real strong motherfucker because he picked all three of them, obviously not together, but individually, once they were all dead, and threw them in that bathtub.
And that's a deep-ass bathtub. Can we
and
talk about that?
I just kept thinking, is that bathtub going to like, because it looked like a ceramic bath. Like,
like
I
a
was
clawfoot tub, yeah.
Is it going to crack?
Same.
Because
That's a lot of weight.
Well, you're throwing a lot of bodies, and it's not like he's just placing them in there. Like, he's little, so he's just
Throwing
them over.
What'd you think of the scene where he was, like, had Johnny's face up to his face?
When Johnny's
When
dead.
he's, like, going crazy and Johnny's dead.
I didn't really think anything of it.
I mean, I just thought, I was like, that was the point where I kind of thought that Caesar had really lost it.
Okay, yeah.
Because, like, I mean, up to that point, I mean, Caesar was pretty, like, collected. I feel like he kind of knew what he was doing until the point where he actually started killing people. And then he's like, okay, well, now I'm fucking crazy and I'm in this, so I guess here we go.
Yeah.
And, of course, that was obviously a lot of pent-up aggression with Johnny anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think he obviously enjoyed that kill.
I think so too.
Well, he had to start getting rid of the bodies because the cops showed up,
Yep.
Yeah.
which we never mentioned.
Which did kind of irk me a little bit because, I mean, how do you know the gunshots are coming from that apartment and that
Right.
big old
Right.
apartment building?
But did y'all think that Corky called? Because that's what I felt like. Because
Oh, really?
they show her like going back and forth, and she can tell and sense that there's
Something
panic
wrong.
over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. I was like, did she
Oh, maybe.
I
slick
didn't
call
even
the
think about
cops?
I mean, because to be fair, they show up real quick.
Right.
So maybe she had already called them.
It never shows her,
No.
but I don't know. That's just what I thought. She's like, my girl's in trouble, and
I mean, and they wouldn't have known.
Right.
I mean, it could literally have been anybody in the apartment.
Yeah.
right,
But she obviously knew some shit was going down over there.
right
so.
next door.
Oh, well,
right.
yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Now I'm thinking, yeah, maybe it was.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because how else would anybody... I mean, that's a huge apartment building. How would they know it was coming from room, whatever it was, 1304 or whatever?
10:03.
Right.
1003, is that what it was? 1003?
I did think when he moved the rug over the blood, I'm like, how is that blood not going to soak through that
Well,
the same
and
thing.
it does.
When he,
Well, how did he not? How did
his?
his foot not leave bloody footprints?
That's what I
Right.
thought, because I kind of thought when they went to walk out of the apartment, I was like, oh, I bet one of the cops are gonna like see the trail on the way out, and that's gonna be like a thing.
Well, and two, let's talk about how white their bathroom is with white grout. Y'all in there busting folks' head open on the toilet, dragging dead mob bosses. Don't nobody see no stained grout.
No, well, there's that blood dripping,
Right.
and he doesn't see it. But to your point, I mean, how could you miss that?
It would be soaked in.
Yeah.
Well, literally, Caesar is cleaning this place up with the quickness, no fucks given on what he's doing. He's just
Right.
throwing shit around, trying to cover it up.
Moving this there,
And he's
putting
literally
lamps.
moving that white ass chair with his bloody
With his
hands.
bloody hands.
Where's the blood? On that white
Well,
furniture.
So that kind of brings me, we can talk about this a little bit. So obviously after all that goes down at the apartment, they go to Johnny's house because they think the money's at Johnny's house. And when you see it, I mean, the first view you get of the inside, it's just been ransacked because Caesar's gone through everything looking for it. And I thought, well, that's a dumbass fucking move. Your fingerprints are now on literally every
Everything.
single thing in Johnny's house.
He's not very bright.
He's very careless.
Because I think
Also-
he's lost it at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, I have down in here, I was like, are we supposed to believe that Johnny's house, the son of the like mob boss, is living in a place this like a dump, but Caesar's over here living in this palace with Violet?
Well, no, don't get it twisted. He had a gate in the front that had a J on it, so he's rich.
Oh, yeah, he did have that J
He
gate.
did. So obnoxious. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I liked their apartment that they were living in better than that house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
same.
apartment like seemed super posh and fancy,
In Uptown.
which I guess kind of makes sense because Johnny's looked like a bachelor pad.
Yeah.
It did.
You know,
It
like,
matched his persona. That's
absolutely,
for sure.
did.
Absolutely.
Douchebag chic.
Yep.
Douchebag
Douchebag
chic.
chic.
All right, so Michael,
Well, before we move on to the last act, I have to say,
Yes,
when
please.
the cops come up, they put on Night of the Living Dead
They do.
on the TV and blame it on that, which I kind of loved.
I did.
Yep.
Well, okay, so Night of the Living Dead. I mean, are there that many gunshots in that movie, Michael? I mean, I've only ever seen it once, so I don't know.
Towards the end, there is.
Okay.
And what'd
Definitely
he
towards
say?
the end.
So that could be believable then.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say I like how the movie is a little bit more accurate with like their guns, like their
There's not
clips.
just endless bullets.
Yes.
Yes.
Because like after 6 bullets, I think it was, that was it.
Yep.
And I was like, finally, a movie that's like,
That doesn't have endless bullets.
Yeah.
Because every
This
other
is-
movie, it's endless.
yeah, I'm like, this is not Resident Evil after you've played it on easy mode and you get unlimited ammo on all your guns. Like, that's just not how this works. Yes.
Caesar calls Mickey and says, they haven't showed up. And so that brings us to our last act of the movie. After they leave Johnny's house, they go back to the apartment, and Caesar catches Violet on the phone. And he realizes in that moment that she stole the money or was in on stealing the money. Hearing Violet in distress, Corky breaks into their apartment only to be overtaken by Caesar. She wakes up and discovers that she's been tied up, and she then sees Violet is tied up as well. Caesar threatens them both, and as he is about to cut off Violet's finger, Mickey shows up at the apartment. To save Violet, she tells Caesar the money... I'm sorry. To save Violet, Corky tells Caesar the money is next door in some paint buckets. Taking Violet into the bathroom, Caesar tells her to help him or he will kill them. Caesar talks to Mickey, and Violet calls the apartment pretending to be Gino, which in return gets Mickey to leave the apartment. When Caesar goes to the other apartment, Violet makes an escape. He chases her down the apartment stairs, only for her to get in the elevator and go back up. Violet calls Mickey to tell him that Caesar has killed Gino and Johnny and has stolen the money. Caesar runs back up the stairs to get her. He makes it to Corky's apartment and finds the money is gone. Corky and him get into a fight, and Violet shows up with a gun and kills Caesar. You then see Violet with Mickey, and he is convinced everything was done by Caesar, and she doesn't know where the money is. Corky and Violet then get in their new getaway truck and kiss. And leave.
That was a mouthful.
Can I just say, when he busts in and sees her on the phone, and then he keeps hitting redial to see who he's talking to, I was watching it with Mike, and I screamed at the television, unplug your phone. Because the whole time during the movie, the whole gimmick is the walls are thin, the walls are thin, the walls are thin.
And he never even heard the phone ringing over
No.
there either, right? I don't think
He did.
Well, he did that right at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, but the first couple times
No.
he didn't. And I kept thinking, now come on. Like,
I also just kind of felt throughout most of the times where Jennifer Tilly's calling her that I was just like, why are you doing
Me
this?
too. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're
Same.
Like,
well, the thing is,
asking for it.
yeah, if Corky was going to be on the other side of the wall, they should have come up with some kind of plan. Like, okay, if this happens, then I'm going to tap 3 times. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Like a Morse code of such.
But yeah, every time she went in there to call, I'm like, girl, you ain't got time to be making phone
Right?
calls.
No.
I kept also expecting Caesar to pick up the line to call someone and hearing the conversation. But
Me too. Me
yeah,
too.
because, back in those days.
you could do that. That's how your parents listened in.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Actually, I haven't. I just don't know how to word it. So
No,
move
try
on.
it. Try it. Word it.
Well, when Violet calls Corky, I don't remember. There's 2 phone calls in the
There are.
apartment. It's either the first or the second. And Violet says to her, I want to tell you something. And
I
she
know.
says, I know,
know.
Violet. That's why I'm still here.
And they put their
I
little
love
hands,
Professing their love for each other.
put their little hands on the
Yes.
walls.
Yeah, but they've only known each other for 2 days.
Well, some people
this a
believe in
Disney
romance and love.
I mean,
Okay, but realist. I mean, they are lesbians, so I guess it makes sense.
Well, lesbians
Anyways,
move in on the first date.
that's
so-
true. That's true.
well, I mean, after they had sex back in towards like the beginning, like right after it was over, wasn't it Corky that said, she's like, I can see again.
Yeah, she did. She
And
did.
it's like, so there it is. Also, wouldn't you think that, like, I mean, this is stereotyping, so just whatever.
Well, I mean, we've done a lot of stereotyping.
But,
too,
like,
so-
I mean, wouldn't you have thought that, like, Corky would have been, like, the top in that situation? And she definitely was not.
No, she was more passive.
Yes.
yeah, but I could also see Violet being, because she's probably used to being, I don't
The
want to
one
say
that has to
taken
please.
advantage of,
Submissive.
but a little bit more submissive for
To the
Caesar.
men,
So
yeah.
now it's like, okay, now I can be in charge.
Well, I think it'd be the opposite with Corky too. Corky's in charge of what she does, and so in the bedroom
Yeah.
she likes
To be a little bit more sub.
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say it was interesting seeing Jennifer Tilly in a submissive role. Because I'm not used to seeing... She's always played such, like, these, like,
Tough.
badass bitch, like, power roles. So to see her be kind of, like,
Kind of a damsel in distress at some
Yeah.
parts. Yeah.
Kind of,
was
but
interesting.
always smart.
Yes, always like thinking about, okay, what's next?
How
Yes.
can I get out of this?
Yes.
Because when she called and pretended to be Gino,
Brilliant.
and she's like, tell him I've been in a car wreck, blah, blah, blah. And she puts her terms up, and she's like, if you don't, I'm going to tell them all, and you're about to be blasted, dude.
Yeah.
That was so
It was
smart.
hot when she made that phone call and she was like, what'd she say? She says something about, like, I'm saving your life, asshole.
Yes.
Keep the conversation going.
yeah,
I'm
until
gonna
I come
hang
out of the
up.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes. And when she says, tell me you understand, I'm like, yes, queen.
she was-
Take
She's
it
got the
back.
power.
She was good. All
Yes.
she's like cleaning her little lipstick off her face.
Yeah.
And,
And
like,
where she got pistol whip, putting
yeah,
some
making
makeup.
herself pretty,
Yes.
and presentable.
Well,
for Mickey.
and once again, kind of going on the whole Caesar being in love with her thing and me not feeling like he is. I mean, literally, when he's talking to Mickey and he just uses her as that tool in the back
Property.
of his pocket all the time, where he's telling him, he's like, oh, she was in there, like,
Helping me with
relieving me
that.
of some stress or whatever. Bitch, please. I cannot fucking stand him.
I hate him too. So much.
I like it when Mickey says that Violet's one nice lady.
Yes.
And then I'm like, I like Mickey. I really hope he makes it out through this. And also, I just want to say I love a good stairwell chase scene.
That was a good chase scene. I
Was
love
it?
how she goes back up the elevator and she's like,
Which-
you're getting your workout today.
Well, which is smart because in my head, I'm thinking, yes, go downstairs and just run outside, right? And instead, she gets on the elevator. And at first, I was like, why the fuck would you do that? But then I thought, oh, it's It's an old apartment building. That's probably the only damn elevator.
Right.
So
Yep.
if he wants her, he's going to have to go all the way back up them stairs.
Yep.
So that was kind of smart.
Yeah, I mean, it bought her some time.
I never would have thought to do that. I would have
call
ran
Mickey.
outside and gotten killed.
Well, I thought she was going to Mickey.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I thought,
yeah.
because by then, shit had hit the fan. And I thought that she was, like, trying to get him to...
And he was on the way to the hospital.
Which I guess
Yes.
technically
That
she
he
kind of
thought.
did, because she did call him and fake the whole, like, oh my God, he's coming, and hung up the
She
phone.
did, yep.
So to get Mickey to come kind of back up there, I guess.
And I loved too how when she's faking it to Mickey and she's like, "Oh, he made me help him," blah, blah, blah. And then she's just like, click, and her face is just
Yes.
like stoic.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, I did it.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah, I thought that was a really smart choice, calling him. Well, and he adores her. It's very clear, so he's going to come to help her.
Yes.
You know?
Well, and what about, like, so when we finally see, when everything kind of, like, comes full circle with Corky being in the closet, ironic anyway, being, like, bound up, quote unquote, but I was like, oh my God, I can't, obviously we just talked about I can't stand Caesar, but when he makes that comment about, like, I should have known none of you can be trusted, none of your people, none of your type could be trusted, and he makes the comment about them being queers and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, I just want to fucking kill him myself.
Well, he does call her a dyke.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
He sure does. I did have a little bit of a problem with Corky towards the end of the movie because I thought she's obviously very brave and bold, but dude, her execution sucks. Like, she's very spastic.
Well, I think it's funny because, like, when her and Violet are having the conversation about, like, this can happen, this is what's going to happen, and Violet actually tells her, she's like, what are you going to do if you get caught? And she's like, oh, I won't. Well, bitch, here we are.
Here you are.
We are caught.
In the closet again.
I mean, how,
You know, though, because when she comes and they're like, her and Caesar are having their little fight or whatever, like, he gets her really good a few times, and I'm like, I just felt like she didn't really think that through. Like, she was being bold, but not
He hit her in the
execute.
face.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't.
he loved to pistol whip somebody.
He sure did.
Every opportunity.
He sure did. So of course, then we can say goodbye to Caesar because he's done.
Rip.
I did love that it all happened in that white primer paint, though.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
so
isn't that
cool.
cool?
Yeah.
We said the same thing. We were like, how poetic.
Yeah, very cool. I liked
Yeah.
how the blood kind of oozed, but it was, I don't know, it looked really cool.
Didn't he say you're not going to shoot me, too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said
She's
you would have done
like,
it a long
whatever.
time ago. And she goes, you don't
She
know
emptied that gun
me.
into him.
You don't know me, Chucky.
But they got a new truck
They did.
out of it.
With a
I'm guessing
96 with a
beep.
beeper. That's
beep. I'm guessing
expensive.
their first purchase with this money is the truck, right? Because you see it, and I
and
was
next
like,
is a little home and a kitty cat.
I did think it was really hot, though, like at the end when she's talking to Mickey, which once again kind of solidifies the fact that they have like a sort of like friendship together. But I was like, these bitches did it. They really
did.
had this man, this powerful ass man, feeling like Caesar done run off with all that money, and they're just going to go their opposite ways. They got the money, and Mickey's going to go on this quest for Caesar that he's never going to find.
never.
And
You know what I loved too? When she kisses him goodbye, you can tell he wants to say something else, like almost like "come with me" or something. But like he hesitates and then he just goes like, "No, I'm just gonna let her go live her life."
I
Let her
feel
get
like
out of
he
this.
was caught off guard by the kiss, too, because he didn't finish the kiss.
No,
Like,
he didn't.
initiate anything.
Right? No, she
kissed
did
him.
it. Yeah.
And he asked her, he was like, my offer still stands.
Yes.
And she's like, I
Gotta
gotta
get out of this lifestyle.
So it's like, I think he probably had offered, do you want to come live with me? I'll protect you.
Yep.
Caesar can't get you, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, well, he can't because I blew him away. But, you know, I like Mickey. I can't help
I
it.
think he's a good guy.
Yeah, I like him. As mobsters go,
Yeah,
I think he's a good guy.
He's a really good mobster.
Yeah.
He's one of the nicer ones.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty much the end of the movie. I mean, do y'all want, like, is there anything else that maybe we didn't cover that you want to bring up?
I really enjoy Gina's voice in this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like because she is so pretty and they're trying to make her so tough, she's always talking like, I don't know, like the Fonz or something. She's a little tough.
She's kind of like a female Fonz, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, to be fair, her hair is kind of a little greasy.
And the
Yeah.
leather jacket. And
Yeah.
I do love her voice a lot. And, I mean, it's obviously not the movie we're talking about, but in Showgirls. Because she's constantly calling Nomi darling. Hey,
Yeah.
darling.
Hey, darling.
You know? Like, she's not Southern, but she grew up in Texas, so she has these little things. Anyways, doesn't matter. It's not the movie we're talking about.
We stand Showgirls here,
We
though.
love
We do
Showgirls.
love Showgirls.
I just watched it the other day, y'all. I love Showgirls.
This is probably what, our 70th
Wait.
Showgirls reference?
Yeah, hey, wait. I'm going to ask y'all a question, and I want you to answer it simultaneously. Okay?
Okay.
Wait, Michael, do you know Showgirls well?
Not as well as you.
Okay, well, I just have a question. Where are you from?
Is that in
Oh
the
my God,
movie?
you said this the other day.
I did.
Oh, you
It's when
did.
she's like,
all
everywhere,
over.
all over,
Fries.
yeah.
Different places.
Different places. That's what it is. Different places.
Different places.
Me too.
Now, you know that the duo in charge of that created this movie, it was written and directed by sisters, but they were actually known previously as the Wachowski brothers. Mm-hmm. Both of them are trans.
Matrix,
so they transitioned
right? Oh.
into women.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that too. That was. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I really like what I like a lot about this movie is the way they shot things. I love those downward shots.
Me too.
Yeah.
They did. I love the close-ups, like on the lips, the fingernails. They did a lot things that made it more sensual and sexual, like when Corky's fixing the pipe and the pipe is leaking.
Oh, in
The
her hands and the
in
water.
her hands.
Yes.
And then all you can see is the hemline of Jennifer Tilly's skirt.
Yeah.
Things like that. I just really loved that they had a good eye for detail in this movie about that.
You know what scene I also really liked? After he shoots Gino, the camera angle of him like falling backwards, and it's not quite slow motion, but it's almost like he's being laid down very delicately instead of him just falling.
yeah.
I know, but then you feel the
The thud.
Yeah.
the thud. So it
Yes.
just kind of creates like
Sorry.
it kind of creates like, you know, the image of like how big this man actually
Right.
like. Funny to me because we all took away something so different from these things, because yours was him falling, yours was like the hand on the pipes and all this stuff, and I thought about like that scene that like the camera like comes out of like the barrel of the gun,
Yes, that's a good
Oh,
one
yeah.
too.
and I thought that looked really cool. That, and then also when she's like cleaning that shower or cleaning the tub, I was like, what the fuck is in that tub?
Gross.
Oh, that, yeah.
Like, that is some nasty.
Oh, and she had the snake in there?
Yes.
That was some...
Tar or something. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it looked
Yeah.
like. It looked
There
like
shouldn't be
tar.
anything in a shower drain. Like
No.
Which, I mean, if you think about something like that, I don't know why this just literally like came to me, but like the fact that they even made, you know, Corky's character a plumber, like it's just so like, because normally you see like in a porn especially, you'll have like a male that's a plumber coming to service the woman that's blah 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 blah, and it just kind of like flipped it on its head by having Corky be like a female.
Well, no, I do know that when they were pitching this movie, the executives wanted them to change Corky to a man. And then they were
They
like,
refused?
you change Corky to a man, we will absolutely do this movie. And they were like, we're not interested.
I'm glad that they didn't get
Yeah.
into that.
Yeah, me too. Now, I do think now, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, I love Corky and Violet. But I almost feel like, let's just think outside the box a little bit. Had they actually casted a man to play the role, and maybe he was like a lankier kind of, I don't know, down in the dumps kind of guy that's just doing construction on this apartment to just make it by. You know what I'm saying? That could have worked too. It would not have worked as well, but I could see it, is what I'm saying.
I think it would lose the sexiness
It's
of
a
it.
swishing. I made a mistake. It's a swishing sound when she walks by the camera. It's right there in the notes because they wanted to give Corky a cat-like
Gotcha.
character type feature to her. And so every time she walked by the camera, you'd hear a swishing noise.
I did not pay attention to that.
Oh, interesting. It says Gershon's role was influenced by James Dean, Marlon Brando, and Clint
I
Eastwood,
could
which is
see
weird
that.
because I can
100%.
totally see that.
100%.
Yeah.
If that's the case, it was executed really well.
Yeah, it was.
So, all right. Well, do we have any other? Okay, so this should be a really interesting horror fried theater. So I'm very excited to hear what you have come up with, Mike. First of all, does anybody need a shot before we get started?
All right, so obviously this movie has some pretty I don't know, memorable, quotable.
Yeah, it's pretty dialogue heavy.
Yeah, characters. It has some pretty intense moments. Blah 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 blah. So, and since we have a lovely guest this evening, I had to do something a little different than normal. So we've actually got 2 scenes for your listening pleasure. And
we should probably do them in order though that they happen in the movie.
it is, yeah. Okay. So start with the one that has the 9 in the corner. Okay. So our first scene, because let me just go ahead and tell you, there was no motherfucking way I was doing this episode without having Keith be Jennifer Tilly for an entire scene.
Oh my!
So
honestly, my Jennifer Tilly is not as good as Ashley's. Okay, I'm gonna.
That's fine because the second scene she's Jennifer Tilly.
Oh, great!
So
okay.
we've got.
Get it together, Keith.
We'll just let the listeners be the judge of that.
Can I do it as Jennifer Coolidge instead?
That is not the same.
Okay.
Different Jennifer.
Okay.
I mean, it's very similar, but not the
similar.
same.
Yeah.
But anyway, so our first scene is going to be the scene where Corky and Violet have their little first moment together. So the whole plumbing scene, blah blah blah. Caesar runs in on them. The whole 9 yards. Do you want me to just go ahead and tell you what the second scene is?
Yeah, I think we could go ahead and do them. Yeah, you can tell us both.
Okay.
What's the second one?
And then our second one is going to be a little bit more male-driven.
Ooh.
It's got just enough 3 men and Violet. So Ashley will be Violet, and then we will be Johnny, Caesar, and Gino. So it's going to be that whole scene.
Okay. So who's who? I do not know,
okay, so
Italian, so.
In this first scene, we're gonna have it's Violet, Corky, and Caesar. Mm-hmm. Keith, you're Violet, Avi. Ashley, you're gonna be Corky, and Michael, you're gonna be Caesar.
Perfect.
So get your best skis on.
Yeah. You can do it, yo.
And then second scene, we're gonna have Keith, you're gonna be Johnny. I'm gonna be Caesar. Michael, you're going to be Gino, and Ashley, you're going to be Violet.
I'm honestly very excited. Okay, places. Everybody, places.
All right, are we ready?
Yes.
All right, Gangrene, let's go.
Greetings, maniacs and madmen. This is Dr. Gangrene, physician of fright and Nashville horror host. Coming up next is everyone's favorite segment, Horror Fried Theater. Grab your popcorn and refreshments, pull up a slab, and get ready for the madness.
Funny story while he's doing this, there was a night where all 3 of us were in a hotel room.
It was so late.
It was so late. Me and Keith were pretty awake. Poor Michael was really trying to sleep.
Poor Michael.
He was so tired. And me and him literally sat in bed and just talked to each other in Jennifer Tilly voices for I don't even know how long. And he kept bugging Mike. He was like, Michael, do it. He's like, I don't want to do it. It's like,
I'm too self-conscious. I cannot do voice.
I don't want to do it.
Something about meatballs.
No, Swedish. What was it? Yeah, Swedish meatballs. Isn't that what he likes?
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Let me just.
Hey, now,
Yeah, I got it.
okay.
Yeah, I got it. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Okay.
I'm not gonna start with this part right up here though. It's gonna start with the interior hall, the night part.
Okay.
Hold on. Where? Let me see.
It's halfway through
Okay,
the
interior.
page, yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Need a highlighter or anything?
No, I got it, baby. Mamaw can see, baby. We're all right.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes, let's go.
All right.
Wait, you have to do it in your narrator voice, remember?
Yes. Corky knocks, and after a moment, Violet opens the door. She seems surprised.
Stop looking at me.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Shit.
Because you said shit.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Woo. All right. We're back in the game.
Oh no. Shit. I didn't know I could call you. God, you must think I'm a total nuisance.
Not exactly.
I'm sorry. I usually.
Why is this so hard? We're gonna get through it. We could never be actors.
Okay. Wait, should we start over or just keep going?
No, just keep going.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I usually would call Rajiv, but I didn't know what to do.
Okay, wait.
I'm sorry.
I usually would
I'm trying to hold my script up and not look at you.
It's hard.
I'm trying. Okay.
I didn't know what to do.
So
I really didn't anticipate this.
I would be fine. I'm not okay either. Okay. He said you lost something.
Yeah, come on in.
She steps back and Corky walks inside. Violet leads her through the apartment. It's expensively furnished with very masculine tastes. A lot of gray and black leather.
Oh no.
I was doing some dishes, and just as I pulled the stopper,
It fell in.
Corky looks at her blankly.
oh, it's one of my favorites.
Stop it.
That's why I got upset. I know it probably seems ridiculous to you.
An eyebrow goes up.
I'm sorry, look, forget it. I shouldn't have called.
I told Mr. Benancini I'd take a look. Is that the sink?
Violet nods. She opens the sink cabinet, pulls out a pair of Chanel
Channel
locks.
She's real Chanel. Chanel locks.
Channel
from her back pocket. The teeth of the channel locks open and bite onto the pressure nut.
Do you have a pot or a bucket?
Sure.
She hands one down to her. Corky slides it under the curved pipe. As she works, Corky feels herself staring at Violet, at the hem of her dress curving tightly around her thighs. Water begins to trickle into the pan. The nut slides loose and Corky tips the trap. Water splashes into the pan with a soft metal tink.
Did you find it?
Corky fishes into gray water and pulls out the earring. Violet screams, a huge smile on her face, half falling as she tries to hug Corky.
Oh, I can't believe it. You did it.
Corky leans back under and replaces the trap.
Thank you so much. You have to let me pay you something.
No, Mr. Banicini asked me to do it. I did it.
Corky checks the drain by running the water.
If you don't take money, how about a drink? It's getting late. You can't work all night.
Corky eyes her for a moment.
Okay, one drink.
What do you want?
A beer?
A beer, of course.
She smiles and turns to the bar.
Sit down.
Corky sits on the black leather couch and Violet returns with 2 bottles of Heineken. Corky sneers.
Thanks again.
They clink the bottles and swig.
You seem very uncomfortable. Do I make you nervous, Corky?
No.
She looks at Violet, then takes another long pull on the bottle.
Thirsty, maybe?
Violet smiles, her eyes again talking for her.
Curious, maybe.
Curious. That's funny. I'm feeling a bit curious myself right now.
Violet notices the tattoo on Corky's arm.
That's a great tattoo.
She reaches over and touches it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Corky's a bit surprised that she knows what it is. She nods, rubbing it as if she's trying to hide it.
Are you surprised that I know what it is?
Maybe.
I have a tattoo. Would you like to see it?
She moves closer, sliding over the leather cushions as she opens the front of her dress.
A woman in upstate New York did it for me.
She's not wearing a bra.
Here. Do you like it?
Set against the soft white skin of her breast is a bright green-stemmed violet.
It took her all day to do it. She promised me. She promised me it wouldn't hurt. But it was sore for a long time after. I couldn't even touch it.
Corky looks up from Violet's breast to her dark eyes.
But now I love the way it feels.
She runs her fingers softly over the slightly scarred skin.
Here, touch it.
Corky feels the blood pounding in her ears as Violet takes her hand and places it on her breast.
What are you doing?
Violet looks at her.
Isn't it obvious? I'm trying to seduce you.
Why?
Because I want to. I've wanted to since I first saw you on the elevator.
Corky watches her, trying to figure her out even as her thumb presses into Violet's nipple. Inhaling sharply, Violet closes her eyes. She can feel Corky staring at her.
You don't believe me? But I can prove it to you.
She takes Corky's wrist and begins pulling her hand down her body.
You can't believe me because what you see.
She forces Corky's hand between her legs up under her dress.
But you can believe what you feel.
Violet opens her eyes, a wanton smile on her lips.
You see, I've been thinking about you all day.
Corky's forearm flexes and Violet moans. With both hands, Violet takes hold of Corky's forearm.
You planned this whole thing?
Violet's head swims. She's unable to breathe.
You dropped that earring down the drain on purpose, didn't you?
If I say yes, will you take your hand away?
No.
Yes.
Now it's Corky who smiles. Violet shivers, her thighs rubbing, her hips thrusting against Corky's hand.
Please, Corky. Please.
Her eyes barely open.
Kiss me.
In a single motion, Corky takes hold of the back of her neck and covers Violet's open mouth with her own. With her hand still stuffed between Violet's legs, Corky lays her back onto the couch as the kiss becomes more desperate, more hungry, until we hear the front door unlock and open.
Violet?
Violet's eyes pop open and she pushes Corky back.
Violet, you home?
They scramble to compose themselves.
Yeah, I'm here, see.
He comes around the corner and in the dim light sees the two figures sitting close on the couch.
What's this?
He mistakes Corky for a man.
What the fuck is this?
Violet stands as Caesar barrels toward the couch.
I didn't expect...
What the fuck is going on?
Corky stands and turns, Caesar suddenly realizing that she's a woman.
Oh, shit.
Caesar. This is Corky. Corky Caesar.
I'm sorry, Christ. I thought it's fucking dark in here.
He reaches to the wall for the lights.
She's working for Biana Janana.
Caesar extends his hand.
Oh, right. Dawn mentioned that to me. Hi, welcome to the family.
Corky shakes his hand.
You're helping Rajiv?
No, Rajiv's in India.
She's doing the work herself.
No shit. Something... Boncini hired you? No, he's a good friend of mine. Family, really.
That's what Violet said.
He looks at her as if he knows something.
So you just got out?
Jesus, Caesar.
What? It ain't no big fucking deal. I know who Don hires. Did you know he did time himself?
Corky shakes her head.
13 fucking years. See? There ain't no secrets here.
Corky doesn't like this man.
How many you do?
5.
He whistles.
I can't whistle. Not bad. What for?
That's none of your goddamn business, Caesar.
You're right. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I just hope you understand you're among good people here.
He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a thick fold of money and peels several hundreds. Corky stares at it.
Come on. If you understand what I'm talking about, you're going to take the money. If you don't, I'm going to have to worry about you.
Corky takes it. Caesar smiles.
Good. I hate to worry. I got ulcers.
I should be going.
What? How about a drink?
My brushes. I have to clean my brushes. Thanks, though.
Another time.
Sure.
Close on the paintbrush. Corky's fingers pushing through and separating the black bristles under the running water. When the brush is clean, she flicks it dry and resets the edge. She goes to the sink to wash her hands when she stops, noticing her left hand. It's the hand that was between Violet's legs. She's about to smell her finger when she sees herself in the mirror.
What are you doing?
She drops her hand.
What am I doing? I'm fucking up. That's what I'm doing.
She scrubs her hands clean. It's late. The area burnished with amber streetlight. Corky walks from the building to her truck. She climbs inside and slides the key into the ignition when suddenly the passenger door opens and Violet gets in. Stunned, Corky stares at her.
I had to see you.
Look, I don't think this is a good idea.
I wanted to apologize.
Don't apologize, please. I can't stand women who apologize for wanting sex.
Violet smiles.
I'm not apologizing for what I did.
She slides across the seat.
I'm apologizing for what I didn't do.
She kisses Corky, and if Corky's trying to resist, we can't tell. The windshield's beginning to steam when Violet, panting, breaks the kiss.
Do you have a bed somewhere?
Unable to speak, Corky reaches over and starts the engine. The sex. There's nothing flower-scented or out of focus about it. It's sweaty, slippery, body-grinding, bed-squeaking lesbian sex. Pungent and potent, and when it's over, neither woman can move. Finally, Corky's eyes flutter open.
I can see again.
Violet smiles slowly. Corky gets up and goes to the fridge. She grabs a beer and presses it to her sweating forehead. After a moment, she lowers it, gently pressing the cold can elsewhere. Eyes closed, she lets out a long ah. Violet hears the sizzle pop of the beer, returns to the bed. She holds the beer to Violet's lips and tilts the can, watching Violet's throat as she drinks. Violet's eyes open.
I needed that.
Tell me about it.
End scene. Next day, there's a knock, and Caesar opens the door. Gino Marzoni is an old Italian whose face is a mask of irritated indifference. Roy, his enormous driver, is behind him. Caesar smiles, greeting them in Italian with open arms. Johnny is the last inside. He has tape over his broken nose. He smiles and hugs Caesar.
You shouldn't have hit me.
You want to get into this now?
No, Caesar, not now.
He smiles again, patting him on the shoulder, then throwing a fake punch. Caesar sees Gino with his bright Italian smile, flattering Violet, kissing her.
Hey, Caesar, you take care of this girl, I find out. Stop it.
You're as radiant as ever, Violet.
As he bends to kiss her hand, she sees Caesar watching them. Glenlivet, right? Glenlivet, right, Gino?
I'll have whatever Violet's drinking.
Oh, I'm not drinking.
Then neither will I.
This makes Violet very uncomfortable.
No, I'll have a Tanqueray and tonic.
Caesar, make that 2 TNTs.
Caesar's hand shakes as he pours Gino's scotch. Pacing in her socks, Corky tries to think through several possible situations. She stops staring at the bag of the money. The idea of it sitting out in the open suddenly bothers her. Caesar hands Violet and Johnny a drink. He stares at her. She stares back.
Salute, eh? Roy, Violet, Pop, Caesar.
Caesar watches Johnny, suspecting everything he does. Johnny reaches into his pocket and takes out a cellular phone.
No, Johnny, no goddamn phones. Not now.
Pop.
Caesar, come here. Sit.
What?
We talk now. You too, Johnny.
Each man sits on either side of Gino.
Sorry, my paper's not letting go. Caesar, look at me. Johnny, tell me what happened. Caesar, you gotta do me a favor, a personal favor. For me, you gotta start respecting Johnny the way you respect me. You understand? Good?
Caesar sees Johnny smiling at him, but then when Gino turns, the smile disappears.
And you, Johnny, you gotta stop acting stupid. You gotta earn this respect that Caesar's gonna give. You understand? Good. Done. Now where's my money?
Corky drops a hefty bag knotted tight into an open 5-gallon bucket of paint. As she picks up a paint stick, we see a second bag beside another bucket. She pushes the first bag down until it disappears, enveloped by the milk-white liquid. Caesar puts the briefcase onto the coffee table. Gino looks up at Caesar, very serious, with his hand on the case.
We know how this was done, eh?
Yeah, I know. He looks dead at Johnny.
It won't happen again, eh?
Caesar shakes his head.
Good.
Gino throws down the last of the scotch.
Done. We go now.
Jesus Christ, Pop. You got 2 hours till your plane leaves.
Gino checks his watch, shouting in Italian. Johnny shouts back until Gino throws up his hands, refusing to listen.
Caesar.
He gestures to his empty glass, then folds his arm, leaning back. Caesar gets the bottle.
So, Caesar, what did it total out at?
2.176. Johnny whistles as Caesar pours Gino another scotch.
Ooh, unbelievable. Can you believe that, Violet?
Hey, Johnny.
In Italian, tells him to shut up.
Come on, Pop. All I want to know is one thing. Just one thing after he made such a big deal out of it. I bet it wasn't a big deal, was it, Caesar?
What's that, Johnny?
The money. I bet it was nothing to get it clean after you made such a fucking big deal.
Johnny, what did I say?
Pop, this is important to me. It's a simple question. If you would just answer the question, that's the end of it.
Where's this going, Johnny?
Just admit it, Caesar.
Admit what?
That you overreacted. That you lost it. Not me. It was your mistake.
Caesar sees it so clearly now. All right, Johnny, you want to play it this way? I can play it this way. You want to know who made a mistake? Why don't you open the case?
Caesar.
Shut up, Violet. This is between me and Johnny. He pushes the case toward him. You want to do this now? Let's do it. Open the case. Open the fucking case. Johnny stares at him, feeling that something's very wrong. That's right. I know. I fucking know.
Know what?
Open the case.
All right, where's the key?
You don't need a key. He tries, but it's locked.
How the fuck can I open it?
The same way you did before.
What are you talking about?
Caesar smiles and tosses the key under the table. There you go, Johnny. He reaches for the key. Caesar stands up and gives Violet his drink. Get me another. He can see the fear on her face as she goes to the bar. Time drips. The key turns, one lock pops, then the other. The case opens like a scream, and Johnny sees the newspaper.
What the?
Before anybody can move, Caesar whips around with his gun. Roy jumps off his stool, his drink crashing to the floor. Don't fucking move. Nobody can believe what's happening.
Caesar, what is this?
Ask Johnny. Ask your rat fuck son.
What the fuck?
Caesar levels the gun. You don't think I'll do it, do you?
I think you're fucking crazy.
Where is it?
Was what?
The money.
Caesar, I don't know what you're thinking here, but if you don't put down that gun...
He stands up. Sit down. He does.
Caesar.
Gino, your son stole this money to set me up, and I can prove it. Violet, she doesn't know what to say. Tell them.
For Christ's sake, Johnny, do what he says.
This isn't happening.
Boom! Caesar blows a hole in the couch right between Johnny's legs. Johnny screams. The next one blows off your dick.
You're a dead man, a fucking dead man.
Where is it?
Enough.
Gino jumps up. No, Gino.
You aim a gun at me. Do you know who I am? I am Genie. I'm Gino
In a bottle.
I am Gino Marzone. You understand?
He stares, starts walking towards Caesar. Roy moves around for a good angle. Sit down, Gino.
No, Caesar, give me the gun.
Stay away. He backs up as Gino walks straight to him.
We're family, Caesar.
No.
Give me the gun.
I can't.
Give it to me.
He reaches up and takes hold of the barrel. Caesar looks resigned as he shuts his eyes.
Good man.
Close on Gino's hand, holding the gun barrel as Caesar fires. From behind the gun, we watched Gino's grip yanked free, time melting away as he falls, blood bubbling from his chest, his eyes wide in disbelief. His body hits the floor, and the room erupts. Roy dives, drawing his gun as Caesar continues to fire, pumping the trigger. Violet drops behind the bars. Johnny screams, falling towards his father. Blood spurts from Roy as 2 bullets hit, his gun clattering and sliding against the floor. Johnny lunges at Caesar as Caesar turns and fires, hitting Johnny everywhere. Blood and meat spray and speckle everything around him. Insane.
So this is Dr. Gangrene saying goodbye and thanks for joining us here at Horror Fried Theater. See you on the next episode of the Horror Fried Podcast, and be sure and join me every Saturday night for Dr. Gangrene Sanitarium, Saturdays at 9 p.m. on Nashville's NECAT Channel 9 and simulcast on the NECAT Roku channel and drgangrene.com. And as always, remember to stay mad.
The longest Horror Fried Theater I think we've ever done.
In Horror Fried.
In Horror Fried history.
Probably the longest one we'll ever have, too. Oh my God, though, y'all. I can't even talk about it. It's time for our final finger-licking thoughts, y'all, here at Horror Fried. We rate our films using the heat scale of a Nashville delicacy, hot chicken, on a scale of 1 to 5, no spice, mild, medium, hot, and Nashville hot. Mike, what did you think about this movie?
What did you think about this movie?
Well, I feel like the first time ever, I feel like the only one in the room that's actually seen this movie before.
Yeah, that's true.
Before this viewing.
So you hadn't seen it either,
No.
Ashley.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I feel like watching it when I was probably like 17 when I first watched this movie. And I feel like I remember really enjoying it then because I just really liked Jennifer and Gina in general. Watching it this time, there was at one point where I was like, how much longer is this got? Like, it kind of felt like it was dragging to me a little bit.
It's a long movie.
It was. And I kind of felt like it was taking a minute to get where it needed to get. So, like, it wasn't that I obviously did not hate it at all. But there is, like, that part of it kind of was like, I felt like it could have been, like, 20 minutes shorter. But aside from that, I mean, I do think that it's a good movie. It's a fun watch. I think Jennifer and Gina are both still sexy in it. I love girl power, equalization between the sexes. Like
Equalization between the sexes.
Yeah.
Spice Girls.
But so I guess for me, I'm gonna give it like a 3.75.
Oh my God. I do not want you to ever bitch at me again.
That's my first one.
It is.
I'm usually a half.
You are.
I'm a half person or a whole.
I like to do quarters sometimes.
Always a whole.
Oh my God. He's a sloppy hole.
Oh,
Michael,
hello.
tell us what you think about this movie.
This was a first time watch, as Mike said. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very well executed neo-noir thriller. I love...
That's, you know what? I wasn't, like, I was trying to think, what does
Oh,
this
this is
remind
totally
me
a
of?
noir.
And it totally reminds me of an old noir
Yeah.
movie.
Yes.
Like some Alfred Hitchcock shit.
Yeah, okay. I like it.
And I love that there was the lesbian twist on the neo-noir to update it. I think that it was very well casted. I think the acting was great. And I love the little idiosyncrasies, like the close-ups on certain things, the way that it was shot. It reminded me very much of the way Sam Raimi shot The Evil Dead. It just was filmed differently, and I think that it amped up the tension and the story. So I'm going to have to go with a 4.
Wow.
Yes,
I
come
did enjoy
through
it.
hot.
Yeah.
4. So, I think for me, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, Mike. Like, when I sat down to watch it, I was like an hour and 48 minutes. And it did seem like it took it a minute to get going. But as they're like hashing out their little plan of what they want to do and that part starts showing, I mean, it's pretty quick after that. So I really liked everything after their execution there. But I almost feel like I like the way that the movie looks more than I like the actual story of the movie, if that makes sense. Because I do agree.
It's very stylish.
It's very stylish. It is very well done. It's cast really well. And I'll be completely honest. Like, going into this, like, I know what kind of movies Gina Gershon and Jennifer Till, like, they make very campy movies, right? So I wasn't expecting it to be as serious as it was. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. But I think overall, and I did enjoy it, but I think I'd probably just give it a solid 3. So, medium for me. Okay, Ashley, you're the guest of honor.
Well, also first time watch, as Mike said. I kind of agree with you, Keith. I like the way the movie looked better than I guess I enjoyed the movie. There were parts that kind of drug on, but Jennifer Tilly is my girl, and I'm here to support Gina's mouth. So I gotta give it a solid 4, I think.
Wow, okay.
Just for how beautifully shot it was and how obnoxious Caesar was.
Yes.
That was perfect. You hated him from the beginning.
And this is girl power.
And it is girl
100%.
power, and I am all about taking the man down.
Yeah.
All about it.
I like it. A 4. I mean, those pretty solid scores throughout. And, I mean, I feel like we've kind of gotten off of our normal horror movie watch with these last few, like with Bound and Single White Female that we've done. Obviously, they're more of like a thriller. Not so much a horror movie, but a thriller. And just so y'all know, that's definitely going to continue into next week or next 2 weeks, because the next movie we're doing is Jawbreaker, which is also not a horror movie, but I definitely consider it horror adjacent, right?
It's one of my favorites.
I feel like it's got a lot of nods to horror movies, and it's more so a dark comedy, which can, a lot of those dark comedies are horror movies. So after that, though, it's straight back into horror. So
What's our movie after that? I can't remember.
Look, 1 week at a time, Michael. 1 week at a time. But Jawbreaker is going to be the 10th episode, so we're going to hit our halfway mark. So, and I'm really excited because there's a lot of movies coming up after Jawbreaker that
we
I've
haven't
not seen
seen
before. Yeah, and they're like more recent movies. So
I like doing our episodes where the episodes none of us have seen.
yes, I do too. It's a good.
Yeah, they're fun.
It's a good time. Thank you all so much for joining us. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and rate the Horror Fried podcast, and catch up on all our previous episodes on your favorite streaming service. Links are available on our Instagram page. Once again, we'd like to thank our friend Dr. Gangrene for hosting Horror Fried Theater this season. Y'all can find him on Instagram, YouTube, and at his website, drgangrene.com. Now it's time to swap spit and hit the road. Once again, we would like to thank our good friend Ashley for joining us. It's been so much fun. Ashley, where can everybody find you at?
Well, honeys, I'm not as cool as you guys, but you can find me at Hey Batface.
And if you can figure out how to spell it, then she will 100% approve your friend request. Thanks for joining us. We had a really great time. Come back anytime.
I'd love to.
Sit on my lap next time.
Promise.
Okay.
See you Friday when we all go off to Cali
Yeah,
together.
no shit. Now it's time to swap spit and hit the road. Until next time, remember, we're just here to get laid. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Oh, Corky.
Bye.
It's funny. I'm feeling a little bit curious myself.